Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another Tuesday night live stream here on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've got a fun guest tonight. Talk to Seth. Oh boy, this is probably going back now, I bet 2 or 3 years ago. Must have been even longer than that. Was probably pre-pandemic and all of that. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of things that will have changed, and we'll get some updates on things. We'll go through a few whiskeys tonight. As you can see, there will be a nice bottle giveaway tonight, so courtesy of them. So I thank them very much for participating in that. So it should be a really, really fun live stream tonight. And I think for anyone who's not familiar with what Seth and his team do there, they do some things a little bit different than some others, and we'll have him kind of explain that. We'll go through, like I said, maybe about 3 of the whiskeys tonight, and we'll get into some things there. So let me quickly, before we bring Seth on, I'll say hi to a couple people that were in here early. Sugar Kitty was in. Top Dog, good to see you. Dougie H, good to see you, buddy. Adam Houston, good to see you, Adam. Jeff Jankovic, how are you doing, Jeffrey? Truman's in. Mark S. Kim, good to see you guys. Thank you so much. So let me bring in Seth here in a second, and we'll get things going. And again, we'll have him just share a little bit about, himself, kind of how things started, and kind of give you guys a little background on the Broken Barrel part of things, and we'll kind of dive into things. So without further ado, let me bring in tonight's guest, and we'll get the live going here. How's it going, sir?
Hello. How are you?
Not bad. How are you? I was saying that you probably heard it's probably been, man, I bet it was 3.5 years ago since the last time you and I chatted like this, I think.
Yeah, just about. I'm still sitting in the same room. It just probably looks a little different.
That's okay. I think the last time we had it was just a big wall of whiskey behind you. It was probably a little different angle. I think it was further back.
It might have been that wall.
It was that one, because I remember
that
TV.
wall, and now we got this. We got a lot of walls.
You got a lot of
walls. We got a 360 now.
That's good. Well, hey man, thanks for jumping in. I was excited to finally kind of do this all over again. I was excited, me personally, just to see what it was that you and the team have kind of been up to, and just kind of see, where things are. I mean, I'm constantly monitoring things, and I see all the stuff that you're doing. So you clearly have got an awful lot going. But before we dive into all of that, for anyone who's not familiar with you and kind of the startup of the company, do you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself so these guys have an idea a little bit about you?
Yeah, definitely. I will say we got to talk later on about the light situation, because you got your lighting perfect on that back bar there, and I got to figure out how to do that here, because we got the skylights going and all that, and so I got to figure out.
It's all trial and error. I'll tell you, it's been a lot of monkeying around with all of these things.
Well, it looks good. I mean, the bottles are just glorified in your setup. I got to figure out, ours are just like shoved in here and dusty. It's just like I got to turn them. I got to clean them all.
That's okay. So, hey man, you're busy running a whiskey company. You don't have time to. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Well, I think since the last time we spoke, I've had 2 children, both in the last. My oldest isn't even 3. So if we spoke 3 years ago, that's been one major change for sure, is having kids. So
congratulations.
That's been busy. And we hired a new CEO. I am no longer the CEO. I stepped aside actually right at the birth of my second child this past March, which coincided with bringing in the former CEO of Green River, which is where, as you know, we source our bourbon and rye whiskey from. And so it felt kind of serendipitous that he had taken an interest and he obviously knew our business inside and out, because he was making the stuff on site since 2020 and had been selling us whiskey since, well, I think Simon got there in 2018. Hopefully he hears this and doesn't have to correct me. But I believe he got there in 2018. He was there for about 4 years total before they had sold to Bardstown Bourbon Company. So, a lot of changes just in children, CEO, new owners of our former distillery partner, and obviously all the changes that come along with that have definitely been the bulk of this year and kind of navigating all those changes. So yeah. What's this? I'm looking at the comments here. Invite all the Patreons to come back. Broken
Oh,
Barrel.
they were wanting, they would be willing to come and help you organize all of your stuff, probably for payment of whiskey, I'm guessing, which you probably
liquid payment. Oh, definitely. I don't know who this sugar kitty is, but he is. They're funny. I'm looking at the comments.
It's a he, and he's always in here. He's one of the true Tuesday night faithfuls, that's for sure. So, yeah,
awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Sugar Kitty. Sorry. So yeah, that's kind of been like the more recent developments of 2023. We've.
Oh, you just muted your mic. You're still muted. You just muted it. There you go.
What now?
Yeah, we're good.
Good?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, so a lot of excitement and a lot slated for the back half of 2023. A lot of kind of organizational and structural changes for the company in the first half of the year. I think you can expect a lot of cool new products, a lot of new distribution. Example, we're going to be selling into Alaska for the first time just this month. We have new product hitting the shelves, and we have a single barrel pick going to Alaska to brown jug. So a lot of really cool stuff happening in just terms of distribution and new places to find Broken Barrel. The existing products that people, that have been able to find us have been very graciously, continuing to support us. But then also a lot of new distribution into new states and new stores where a lot of people that haven't been able to find even the core stuff, that's going to be more available very, very shortly here through new distribution partners. I'll say that. So,
a lot going on, an awful lot.
Lots.
Hey, let's do this. So, now you started Infused Spirits / Broken Barrel back 2017?
2012. 11 years. 11 years.
Holy cow. All right. So let's go back even further to 2012. Why a whiskey brand? What was it that made you want to kind of get into the world of whiskey at that moment? Because I'd say 2012, honestly, for a newer brand, you were now ahead of a little bit the rush of things, so to speak.
Okay, so 2012, a year out of college, 11 months into a job that I took as kind of my first paid salary gig. And I didn't have call it passion for it. And I was entrepreneurial in college, so I still had a bit of the bug to be entrepreneurial after college. And so moved back to LA and started Infused Spirits Vodka and started a vodka company then. We didn't do anything with whiskey myself, until 2017. So we weren't really like at the beginning of whiskey. So any company, any craft distillery that's been out since 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, that, they are way ahead of us. We're definitely newer with Broken Barrel. And even the product, the way the product looks today, this bottle, this package, this August, next month, is the 2-year mark of this bottle existing. 2 years. It's really quite new. And this is truly the embodiment of what Broken Barrel is. Anything that came out before that is certainly unique, interesting, noteworthy. It's a lot of the stuff that we probably tried on the podcast. There were some hits, there were some misses, but it was all kind of leading up to what is now Broken Barrel, whiskey company. And the 2012 to 17 period was all vodka, fundraising, getting myself out of my grandma's garage and into a house, into a salary, out of debt, personal credit card debt, all that kind of stuff. We could do a separate podcast about business and startup and entrepreneurship and all that, the lots to cover there. But no, Broken Barrel really was born in 2017 when we bought, I want to say 10 barrels of whiskey, and we put it out into the world and said, what do you guys think? And they said, we'll buy it before we even tasted it. And we said, okay, well, certainly the brand is strong because people are buying whiskey they haven't even tasted yet.
Yeah.
And the appetite for whiskey was so strong. I think you'd find a very similar scenario in tequila today, for example. If you were to come out with tequila that looked good, tasted good, and was the right price point, I don't think you'd have a hard time selling it. But yeah, it was 2017. We said we're going to get into whiskey. And I had a whiskey background from selling and representing some single malt scotch alongside our vodka with the initial investor that gave us our first round of seed funding. So, you know, my parents put a little money in, and this gentleman from Aberdeen, Scotland, had put some money in, and he was representing some single malt scotches with his son. And so the three of us were it was the Three Musketeers back then. Me,
Well, you were going across the seas for some funding.
Well, he was here in LA. He's local Southern California guy. With a penthouse in Hollywood and all that fun jazzy stuff. I went out to meet him. I'm like, I'm gonna go find this guy who's got this background in contract manufacturing, because he contract manufactures products for Costco and Trader Joe's and all these private label products. And I go to meet him, and it's like, all right, he's on the 9th floor of this penthouse. I'm like, I don't think there's a distillery on the 9th floor of this penthouse overlooking the Hollywood signs right over there. Like, I don't think this is the distillery. I go into this guy's house, and it's kind of, maybe I've taken a little bit of that to heart, because he's in this penthouse and there's just bottles everywhere of Scotch whiskey. And he sits me down and he goes, I love your idea. I want to invest in this vodka company. And he says, meet my son. A few months later, and I meet his son, and the two of us look at him, and he goes, I'm going to fund you guys to go sell my scotch and this now vodka I've invested in. And so we hit the streets, and we were selling Meals on Wheels. We were eating and living and rolling our bags across Beverly Hills and Culver City and Marina Del Rey and all these spots in Southern California, trying to get distribution and get started with vodka.
Yeah.
And that's how it all began. And then we, moseyed on for a few years and learned some stuff, got some good accounts, and then we got into the whiskey game ourselves as Infused Spirits in 2017.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I knew, because I think it was shortly after that, and it was probably right around when that time was changing from, Infused Spirits to Broken Barrel. So I knew there was kind of a little bit of that transition, and I know I had tried some earlier things and have had your more recent stuff and have been extremely impressed. So, just in drinking some of it and trying it and just wanting to know more as to kind of where the brand was, you kind of see from my side, outside looking in, how you're kind of formulating things, what things you're doing different. And it's cool. I mean, you're interactive with social media, but the thing that was curious to me was, what made you want to kind of go down the road of, I'll say, maybe finishing whiskeys slightly different or unique than how a lot of other people are traditionally doing it. I think that's kind of a cool thing. And you can maybe describe what it is you've got on your bottle, between the mash bill and the oak bill. I think people will find that pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we got into it in 2017, we were this infusion company. We were kind of building out this platform for what was going to be. And unfortunately, I think the whiskey took on such a life of its own, and it went on such a different path that couldn't quite run in parallel with vodka, that it really sucked our attention, energy, focus, investment capital into whiskey and into really becoming, a whiskey person's whiskey. We were building out that we were trying to build Infused Spirits into this infusion company. We were getting to get into olive oils and tea and whiskey, gin, rum, tequila. We were going to infuse everything and really build into this whole single bottle infusion concept and blah, blah, blah. But with the whiskey, it took on such a life of its own. We went to go film that first video, and we actually picked up this exact hammer. No joke, not like a prop or anything. This is the actual hammer that we picked up for the first video. And you can kind of see it's pretty gnarled. Like we've smacked this thing around quite a bit. I've probably broken 20 or 30 barrels with this hammer alone. I've got other newer hammers that are pretty heavy duty, but that hammer was the original hammer we picked up. We said, oh, you know what? Let's go buy a splitting maul and we'll use that to film us shattering a barrel on video for our infused video. So we did that and we're like, man, that was cool. And we posted it and people were going nuts. And we're like, well, let's do that again and again and again and again. And it became our thing. Like we're the guys. And then we went to go design the product. And then you can see, like, you know, that exact hammer that I just held up is one of the two hammers on that bottle. We had my grandfather's pickaxe and my splitting maul are the two hammers that are on the neck of every bottle. They're not like you know, clip art that we found.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, you made it even more personal.
We made it personal, yeah. When my grandfather passed away, we kind of like we're going through some of his belongings with the family in the aftermath and all that. And they said, who wants to take this? And I saw it and I didn't know at the time what the hell I was going to do with it. But I'm like, you know what? That is like a real nice piece of hardware. So I picked up this pickaxe from him and it is just barely hanging on. I mean, the head of it is almost falling off. But this is my grandfather's pickaxe, and he used to do a lot of, like, you know, yard work, and he used to do all, you know, if his car broke, he fixed it. If the plumbing went out, I don't think he ever called a handy person to do anything ever. And my grandfather's from Marrakesh. He's from Morocco, and he used to own an auto parts shop, and so he would do some really, you know, I just remember growing up and watching him, seeing like his trousers hanging out of the hood of his car. He was just always in there fucking tinkering. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. I don't know how bad cars were back then, but somehow, some way, he always needed to be in there fixing something. I don't ever, for any reason, I never need to go under the hood of my car for anything. Like cars, I guess, just work these days and you don't have to fix them that often. But I just remember growing up and he was just in the hood of his car fixing stuff. And he had an auto parts shop in Marrakesh in the 1950s, I want to say, because they moved in 1961 to America. So they moved in 1967 to America. My father was born in 1961. So all through kind of like the late 50s, early 60s, my grandfather had that automotive shop. And so, you know, like he had all these cool things. And even cooler, I have his old briefcase from him. And it's got these old snaps and it has the HB on there, which is for Henry Benhaim. Yeah. And it has his name on the name tag and the address on there. And this bag is from, like, I want to say the, you know, mid 60s. And I keep whiskey in here, actually. I just keep it under my desk.
That's cool.
That's a lot of my grandfather's old artifacts. Just, they've always traveled with me. And it's just so cool to have it on the bottle and be a part of our brand story and all that. So, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you know, one thing led to another. And that's how we developed the brand. That's how we developed the story. Is we wanted to film us shattering a barrel on camera with a hammer. And we did it one time with the pickaxe. And it just all kind of built into a very cohesive story. And we're very proud and very happy of where it's ended up, which is this really now beautiful, thoughtful, affordable, sessionable brand of whiskey that we want people to drink it often, regularly, share it. Mm-hmm. We want to be up there with the big guys. We're not, you know, a lot of people ask, well, who are your competitors? Is it Penelope? Is it Barrel Craft Spirits? Is it these other brands that have become pretty proficient with their finishing? And it's like, no, not really. I mean, I think what they're doing is great. I'm a supporter. I own Barrel Craft Spirits products. I own Penelope products. I buy their stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love their stuff. But I think we're trying to provide a different experience at a price point that is part and parcel with Beam and Makers and Woodford and all the Old Forester, all these everyday mainstay brands that you and I would think of as that's a bottle you get when you are in a place you don't know and you don't know what to, you're not going to gamble on something you never heard of.
Yeah.
I want to get us to that point where we are the finished whiskey you go to. Like you and I probably both have what's our everyday sipper? What's our impress a friend bottle that we're going to pick up when we don't have anything in the car and we're going to a party and they're expecting us to bring a whiskey. I got to stop at the store. You and I both know what we are going to pick up at that store. But, and very similarly, we also know what our high proof picks are, what single barrels we trust. We all associate. And when it comes to finished whiskey that you can find everywhere, every day, and can count on, we want to be those folks. We want to be the finished whiskey that is affordable, that is a good value for the cost. And I don't know if there's anyone that actually owns that quite yet. And we want to come out of the dust as those folks.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's an interesting, niche. And I think just, that story and, also kind of how you guys do things a little bit different, hence Broken Barrel, and taking a traditional mash bill that we're all familiar with, but then also, implementing on the bottle an oak bill. So you're as transparent as you possibly can be, which, in today's day and age, I think, throughout the last few years, that's improved. But I mean, honestly, you guys take it here. I'll solo you on this thing real quick. Hold that there. So what he's showing you guys right there is a traditional mash bill, which we're all familiar with. And then I'll let Seth kind of describe a little bit as to what the oak bill part of that is.
Oh, definitely. We, from the get-go, we wanted to make sure in this kind of second generation of Broken Barrel, which was Broken Barrel Whiskey Co., we wanted to make sure that we were showing everybody what they're getting with their whiskey. So everyone, not everyone, but most people can kind of piece together what a mash bill is, even if they're not familiar with the term. When they read it and they see it's this much corn, it's this much rye, it's this much malted barley, they can go, okay, I think it sounds like this is the ratio of grains used to make this whiskey. And with Oak Bill, we wanted to trademark that term, create something that was very quickly understandable for the layman's term. So we came up with Oak Bill, and we are creating this concept of, all right, these are the different barrels we use to finish this whiskey. And we want finishing whiskey to be very commonplace in the whiskey conversation. I think you have a lot of folks that are going to graduate from seltzers or tequila or these things, and they're going to get into the stronger, more robust, more flavorful spirits. Like when I was in college, I didn't drink neat, whiskey. I took shots of vodka and chased it with orange juice or whatever the hell. It doesn't happen immediately. But as you graduate and you gradually become more, I got into it when I was 24 and they're putting 50-year-old scotch in front of me. I learned quick how to drink scotch neat. Like, it was not an option.
Yeah.
It was a requirement. It was like, all right, that is how this is going to happen. So with the Oak Bill, we knew we had something very transmittable to the consumer, because you can't be everywhere all at once.
Right.
You need people to be able to pick up the bottle off the shelf, turn it and read and go, okay, this has got charred oak, toasted oak, and apple brandy cask. Fascinating. I'm very interested. And Scott, Americana is certainly a new product you have not tried.
Which I'm actually, what you picked up the bottle. I saw you picked it up, and I just picked it up now.
It's also the lowest proof on your table there. So you got the 100, 105, 115. So
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, like how you guys, I mean, put on the fact that there's the oak bill. Like, I mean, for finishing part, we're all familiar with taking a whiskey, putting it in a secondary cask,
Yep.
and again, if it's a dual finishing cask, they remove it from that one, throw it into another. But
Or
you guys,
blend. Or
yeah,
blend
or
it too,
blend. But I
yeah.
think it was cool how you guys did it. So with that oak bill, to take it a little bit further, to kind of describe what it is you guys do. Can you share a little bit about that kind of process?
Yeah, so we do actually physically break down barrels, and I'll be transparent. Like, not every barrel is broken with a hammer in a parking lot. Like, a lot of times they're inside the distillery, they're in a controlled environment. It's done over concrete, in a very clean and stable environment. And what happens is whether it's with an angle grinder or something, we'll cut off the rings. We will clean the barrel exterior just lightly, not to add or take away any kind of too much flavor, just any kind of dust or any sort of imperfections or impurities that might exist on the exterior of the barrel. We don't flame or char the outside of the barrel at all at this point yet. We're thinking about it. We're
Okay.
debating. I'll say this: we own a flamethrower.
Okay. Okay. You're
We
just, and
own a flamethrower.
just enough about it to like be a little bit dangerous with it, I'm assuming.
We did some practice runs with the flamethrower last year, and then another time for another podcast. I mean, I do have a little bit of time. I could tell the story, but it
Sure,
is.
go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
How do I summarize this? We live we live and work around downtown LA, and there is an unfortunate and very tragic reality that there are a lot of homeless people and people that are in transition and just don't have the ability to afford proper housing or the programming or whatever they need to get into a better situation. So we moved the company headquarters to downtown LA in 2018, and there was an incident where right near our office there was actually an altercation between some homeless people, and a tent that was there had caught a fire. And the police were going around and actually asking everybody in the area for any video surveillance footage and whatnot. And they came to us, and it happened to be the same day or week, I should say, that we had picked up this flamethrower. And I swear to God, like, you can't make this stuff up. The person that one of the homeless people that had passed away near our office had died by fire, and it was really sad. It was really terrible, and we saw police and all that, and it was like not far away, and we kind of drove by it on our way to work. But when they came to question us about our video surveillance, the first thing sitting there in the thing was a fucking flamethrower. And we're like,
It's a bad look. A bad look right away.
oh my God. And I'm sitting there, and the cops are talking to me like, oh my God, I hope they don't look to their left and see the flamethrower right there. Oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, this person like died, burned alive, and we're sitting here with a flamethrower that we're going to use to burn these staves. It was the craziest thing. And my wife is like showing the surveillance, and we didn't have anything on our cameras, thank God. And we never heard from them again. But it was just like, imagine like someone stabbed and you have a knife that has blood on it, and it's like sitting next to you, like, I don't know anything about this. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
Sure you don't. Sure you don't. Sure you don't.
wild.
Yeah.
But we are actually, but full circle, we are planning to experiment with varying charred staves that we're going to char the exterior of the staves with a flamethrower and get into some cool kind of like customized levels of char based on the heat intensity we have. We're going to get kind of scientific about it, measure the heat level, and see how many seconds we need to apply before we get various different char levels to the exterior of the staves. We've done a few practice whiskeys in the past, and they came out really, really well. They were good. So I'm excited to see what we can come up with when we really get into it. We've got a big backlog of orders to fill, so we're not really in the experimental phase right this minute for that kind of stuff. But I think 2024, when we resurface from all this, internal change, external distribution change, new market openings, and all that, you're going to start to see me and my team get kind of crazy again, and that's going to be fun. That's when the crazy shit happens. So
I think that's always kind of the cool thing with you guys, is that always seems to be a little bit of the mad scientist part of it. Like, you guys have the flexibility and freedom to kind of do some fun, different, unique things. But I think oftentimes there's lots of great ideas, that have started there, and some really great products that have resulted because of that. Whether it's whiskey, whatever it may be. So let me ask you this: with your finishing, the unique finishing part of things, are you actually placing like let's say a full stave or like some chunks of things? How are you kind of doing
full stave? Yeah, we are 100% full stave. We will break the barrel heads of a barrel in, whether it's with a hammer or if it falls apart after using an angle grinder. We will clean and prepare the barrel for submersion into the whiskey. So instead of putting just whiskey and wood, we put the wood in the whiskey. And that process that we call the oak bill, that really encompasses where the flavor, if you think about seasoned wood, you think about how oak is treated before it becomes a barrel at a cooperage or wherever. If you think about how the elements, the seasons, the climate, the elevation, all the proximity to the ocean, the saltiness that comes off of that, all of these different elements of where barrels were stored can bring different components. And so you could take an Islay Scotch barrel for a salty, briny, smoky flavor, combine that with, call it a Mezcal barrel for a more earthy, campfire sort of flavor, or a Mizunara, which is a more kind of foresty, vegetal element. And you start to get, okay, I'm a chef. I'm trying to create the perfect dish. What flavor components? What's my fat? What's my salt? What's my acid? What's my components that I want to bring to this whiskey? We are a lot like a commercial kitchen, so to speak, in that we're not the owners of the kitchen. We are the tenants of the kitchen. And we are coming in with, ingredients and recipes, and we are following our own path to create the most unique and individualized whiskey we can. We don't want it to taste like anyone else's whiskey. We don't want it to look or feel like anyone else's whiskey, or sound like anyone else's whiskey, for that matter. And so we're trying to innovate and elevate. And I think that's why we were awarded the most innovative brand in America from the World Whiskey Awards just this year in 2023. So we're very humbled and proud to have earned that title of most innovative whiskey. And the cask strength, which I think is your middle pour there.
It is. Yep.
That is our we earned the title of best finished Kentucky straight bourbon at the World Whiskey Awards back in February in Kentucky, in front of all of the peers, in front of Bardstown, who does finished whiskey, a lot of finished whiskey. We beat them for, best, Kentucky finished. Angel's Envy, Woodford, Beam, it goes on and on and on. A lot of the big guys have finished whiskey, but we took home the title of best Kentucky finished whiskey.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. That's a really big deal.
And they were all there. They were all there in the room. All the people you can imagine, all the Beams and those folks were there, sitting in that auditorium in front of that stage, watching me go up completely underdressed for the occasion of receiving that award. And it was amazing. It was humbling, but it's really, really exciting to be recognized for what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And that whole deal. So,
Well, that just happens to be the bottle we're giving away. So if anybody wants a little bit of what Seth just described, get in on the deal. Like, I don't think you guys are going to be, for anyone who's new to the brand or hasn't had anything, I mean, this will be the perfect opportunity to have a chance to get a bottle like that. I mean, I've already had some of it, and again, they're fantastic. So now let's do
this one here.
Yeah, it's an absolute. Or hold that there, and let me pull this up here real quick. So that bottle right there is the bottle you guys have a chance to win tonight. So absolutely fantastic whiskey. You guys will see exactly what it is. You have a chance, and we're going to start going through some of these whiskeys just to give you guys a little idea of what we've got here, and then Seth can talk a little bit more about the portfolio and everything within that. But let's take a little step back. Let's go to the Americano. Let's talk a little bit about the evolution of that, why that, and kind of just talk a little bit about that while we're maybe sipping on it.
Well, I think we had 3 bourbons of 5 core items in our portfolio, and so I did not want to release a 5th bourbon into the core 5. So we'd already done a rye, we'd done a bourbon, so I thought it'd be really unique to put an American whiskey out. I think there's too few American whiskeys. I think for finishing,
if
we're talking about finishing a whiskey, using something that had started and aged in a used barrel, it's obviously a lot more popularized to finish a bourbon or a rye because those are more fleshed out categories. American whiskey is a catch-all. It just it can be a hodgepodge of wheat whiskey blended with rye whiskey blended with, light whiskey with corn whiskey. It can be anything. And so to that end, you think about American whiskey, there's really it's a catch-all. It's like It's like blended scotch, right? It's not single malt. You don't know what distillery exactly it came from. No. And to me, I look at American whiskey as this vast desert of opportunity, and all you need is a little water to kind of feed that market. So American whiskey to me is a white canvas, and I am an artist, and all I want to do is paint. And the staves you can collaborate with and combine together will have such a greater impact on a whiskey that was aged in a used barrel versus a new charred oak barrel. So a lot of those Kentucky straight bourbons and ryes are so overridden with flavor and characteristics of new charred oak that they are not receptive to a sherry cask, Oloroso, PX, Fino. If you're going to go into rum, Jamaican or Barbadian, or if you're going to get into Mizunara, these are nuanced flavors. These are fine, refined characteristics that are going to be impactful elements to creating flavor. And if you can use a more inexpensive and impressionable, I would say, whiskey base, everybody wins. The customer pays less. We can age state it. We can finish it and actually have a lot more of the impact of the finishing barrel. This is our whole Rare Americana series, as well as our Americana, everyday 100 proof, which takes into account what I feel is reflective of American whiskey today. New charred oak, bourbon's hot. New charred oak is hot. Let's just throw that in there. Toasted barrel, which is even hotter, and everyone's, jumping out of bed for toasted barrel this, toasted barrel that.
Right.
And then apple pie, American apple brandy barrels, Laird's from the East Coast is an obvious choice. And we replace the sherry that we normally use in our core, cast strength and rye that you have there. And we replace that with the apple brandy. And we thought that would bring a nice, sweet, delicious element to the fold. And as a result of that, we got 90 points Whiskey Advocate. We got 91 points from another review. We got a gold medal at San Francisco. So the Americana has done very well.
It reminded me so much of like an apple cinnamon donut. That's what, like, when I first kind of got into it and started smelling it, you got a little bit of that faint apple, but you really, when you taste it, man, it is it tastes so much like a whiskey that you could really enjoy. Now for us, like in fall, as it gets cool, it has all of those like fall-ish kind of flavor profiles that we love when it gets a little bit cool, but a fantastic whiskey. So let me just share with everybody a little bit. I know we had showed the mash bill and the oak bill before. So mash bill on this one, 80% corn, 14% rye, 6% malted barley. The oak bill that Seth showed before, so it's 40%. So I'm going to assume out of 100% of staves. I don't know how many staves you're using. 10.
It varies. It varies in batch size. It's not 10.
So this one was
so
40. So 40% was charred American oak, 40% toasted American oak, and 20% American apple brandy casks. So really, again, different, unique, fun to be able to create those different layers, which you clearly have done. Great whiskey.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very, very happy and proud of how Americana came out. I think it's just a fun American whiskey that everyone can kind of like have a bottle of at the bar. And, I think it was a Whiskey Wash. I don't want to misquote that said it was, or it was Christopher Null at Drink Hacker. I think he said it was, dare I say, sessionable. Wow. This is a whiskey that you can just kind of plow through half a bottle and not realize where the time went, or that, it's so sippable. It's so enjoyable. It's bright. It's a bright, easy whiskey to drink that, it's 100 proof. It's not a 80 proofer, you're way above that. And so very drinkable is a high praise for me.
It really was. I mean, it has that nice little underlying, spice factor that's there, a little bit of oak, some nice sweetness. There's some good layers. And again, at 100 proof, I think for a lot of people, on a daily basis, this is a really nice and easy sipping whiskey that offers still a pretty full-bodied kind of flavor profile.
And I'll be honest with you, like, I haven't gotten into too many cocktails with this product yet. I've just been so busy and running 100 miles an hour that I haven't had a chance to really sit down at our bar. We have a 12-foot bar in the other room outside this office. I'd love to sit down. I think this little lemon highball, fresh squeezed lemon, a little bit of like simple syrup, and a little bit of tonic might be the perfect summer cocktail. I'm just spitballing. Like, I actually have not made it myself or had a chance to, but I fully believe you take a highball glass, you fill it with ice, and you shake up a little bit of Americana, maybe 2.5 ounces, and then you do a half ounce lemon juice, quarter ounce triple sec or something, or simple syrup, homemade brown sugar simple syrup.
Yeah,
hear me out. That's the shit. That's where it's at, is brown sugar. But do that. Make yourself a little tincture, and you could throw some aromatic bitters in there if you want, or not, depending on how strong you want it, and hit it with soda the rest of the way, and just kind of fill up that glass all the way to the top. Throw a lemon wedge and just kind of crush those, or make a pitcher of that all summer long. Because let's be real, it's hot as shit right now. Everyone's burning up.
Yeah,
we need a refreshing drink.
Right.
But we still want to feel it, and we don't want to have to drink, 12 Coors Lights to feel something. So, like,
I would agree. I agree. I
create 2 or 3 and feeling good.
Yeah,
100 proof will get you there.
You did. You kind of nailed it. I mean, that challenge accepted. I think I'll probably get into a couple of those. I mean, it's been warm. It's been warm in our area as well. I mean, it seems like it's warm everywhere in the country for the most part. But
moving around, but it's hot.
I was kind of thinking the same thing too, that this feels like it would be good with just, a little bit of, little soda or something, like something that would create a little carbonation or whatever to it, and just make it super
orange. You can even sub out like orange, grapefruit. You can really kind of mess with it. I don't think lime and whiskey ever really truly go together, but I'm sure a bartender somewhere is like, this guy's an idiot. Probably right. I may not know what I'm talking about, but there's certain flavors where I go, you know what, better left for the white spirits and rum and
I hear you.
tequila.
Well, there's a lot more I think it feels like you can do with this than you can with a vodka or something. But that's for another thing. So hey, let's talk about let's talk a little bit about the baby, the 115 proof.
Yeah, that's our baby. That's our bright shining star. I mean, it's 115 proof. I don't recall if you had tried any iteration of this prior. So
I don't believe I had.
I know this is the bottle you're giving away tonight. So I hope anyone that is doing the I see the banner floating across the bottom.
Yep.
What the hell are you all doing here?
Oh,
we're drinking, man.
That's his statement. Brazer's always always what he
Joseph, we're drinking, buddy.
Yeah.
The cast strength has been our tried and true, and I'll tell you this: sales are up 115% since we got the award. So I'll tell you that it's been a wild past few months. Cast strength is where it's at. It is so full of flavor. It is so incredibly delicious. It drinks under 115, which is a little dangerous because you getting 115.
Right.
So, just be mindful of that. It drinks great with a rock. It drinks great in a cocktail. I think that is a monster in an old fashioned for sure.
Yeah.
So
man,
definitely
you're really throwing out the challenges to me now, I'll tell you, but
I mean, it's summertime. If we're not making drinks in the summer,
I hear you.
Someone asked, is it all Green River distillate? So the cast strength that Scott's drinking right now is, yes, Green River distillate, as well as the one to its left, which is the 105. But the Americana that we just discussed is a blend of Green River and MGP.
Interesting. Man, this thing is honey, brown sugar, and I'm getting a little bit of this almost like fudge brownie aspect to it. There's a nice chocolate kind of note there. But it's dense. Like I'm thinking fudge because of how thick that is, like how rich it is.
I've always gotten vanilla off of these. The Green River distillate has always been ripe with vanilla and just these really great marshmallow kind of like fluffy sweet notes that are just so enjoyable. That's why we always, from day one, that's why we picked them as a partner, is that we felt that their whiskey really upheld its quality as a base spirit while also accepting the oak bill and the sort of flavors that we're trying to impart. So
it's definitely more of what you just described, like on the palate. And I'm sure if I got into the nose and kind of spent a little more time, I'm sure those items would, or those would come out in it. But yeah, definitely on the palate, a little bit more creme brulee, a little bit of like a kind of a pie crust, little bit. I'm still picking up like a nice kind of honey note that I get, and that's something oftentimes that I do get with some of the Green River. There's always this little bit of a honey note that I pick up from them. So don't know why, but I do.
There is certainly an element of honey that I get on the cast strength. I think it starts to dissipate a little bit when you get down to our small batch. I think you get a little bit more of heightened sugars with the small batch that really show up when you've watered down the whiskey from 115 to 95.
Yeah,
you're starting to get into more of the realm of, if I look back at my tasting notes or I think back, I've always described our small batch as candy corn.
Oh yeah,
if you're a Halloween like candy corn, that is the sugar component of that whiskey, and it's a little bit more dense, rich sugars that you get at the cast strength level that you don't get at the small batch level. It's a little bit more emulsified and like almost like that top of the tiramisu. where it's got that flame charred,
Yep.
kind of like the sugar's starting to boil over. It's crispy. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
But it's got that really intensified sugar that the small batch is a little more everyday man's sugar. But
no
the
doubt,
rye,
no doubt that.
yeah, if you're able to move to the rye, I'd love to discuss that with you quickly.
Yeah, let me get man, that is just a real, and like you said before, the bourbon, man, that thing is really easy to drink, but I love the late spice that it has on it. So it does give you some nice late, like baking spice, something along those lines.
100%. I couldn't agree more. The rye, and I got to give you a 10-minute warning because I got to pick up my daughter.
Yeah, nope, that's fine. Yeah, whenever you got to go, that's no problem at all.
Oh, nice website. Thank you. So the rye whiskey, our Heresy rye whiskey, is 105 proof. It's a 95% rye, 5% malted barley, but it is not from MGP. It is a Kentucky distillate. I have video of the grain being unloaded on site in Owensboro, Kentucky. The grain is dropped down and then run up a little kind of like escalator through their like 4-story tall mill, and it's ground into its sort of powder form, where it's then run through the fermentation process and distillation process. Their rye is exceptional. I cannot speak high enough about Owensboro Green River rye whiskey. It is fantastic.
It's a beautiful orange mint note on this.
Yep. It is absolutely delicious.
Oh man, nice spice on it. I love when I pick up some of those orange, a little bit of mint in some of the ryes. I don't always get orange in a lot of rye. Sometimes MGP, little kind of traditional orange in some MGP, but man, this is really, really nice from the standpoint of being able to pick each one of those out individually, but they stand out and work very, very well together.
Yeah. I think there is an absolute magic point between rye whiskey and sherry casks. There's something that I was early on, before I even launched anything, I was a fan of Minor Case, which was a Lux Row release, and they did a sherry cask. I also liked the James E. Pepper 1776 rye whiskey that had released with the sherry cask finish, and I respected that they did it at around $49, $59 a bottle. What I was really proud to offer was a Kentucky distillate rye whiskey, not Indiana, that was featuring a sherry cask influence among other staves, and doing all of that under $40. That to me was like, you do that and you keep it over 100 proof, boom, you've got a winner.
Yeah, it's a great product. So this is 100, so 105 proof at or right around, you said $40, right? Give or take.
We are at around, for the cask strength, we're around 50.
Okay.
For the rye and Americana, we're around 35 to 40.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, still fantastic. So, okay. So this that we're sipping on right now, so this is the, so say the name again. How do you pronounce that?
Heresy.
Heresy. Now, what is that? Can you describe that real quick? Like, what is that name? What is heresy?
Heresy is a word that means sacrilegious or untraditional.
Oh, okay.
A heretic is somebody that is against the grain, right?
Okay.
Heresy, really devout Christians or whatnot would probably be averse to buying this bottle, because they're probably looking at this going, I'm not buying. Heretics were people that stood up against Jesus or God or whoever. Heresy is not right. It's not normal. It's not traditional. synonyms would be like apostasy or sophistry. Heresy is a heretic is somebody who is a naysayer. They are an anti-traditionalist. And so what really we are doing by putting wood in whiskey versus whiskey in wood is we are going backwards. And that's kind of they burn you at the stake for heresy. That's what Sugar Kitty says. That's true. I mean, it's like Salem witch trial type shit. It's the kind of
thing. And I think that's important to have the to have the translation of what it is you're describing versus how many people are going to want to call that Hershey. Honestly,
Hershey or hearsay, which is all wrong. I'm surprised by the amount of people that don't know how to spell or pronounce heresy. It's shocking. Yeah. But no, heresy, I mean, you hear it. You hear it in like certain things. People go, oh, that's heresy. You can't do that. That's heresy. He's a heretic. He's not doing it right. And that's what we heard from people. Like the name heresy was born from us discussing the process with which we wanted to pursue whiskey. And people said, you can't put the wood in the whiskey, son. That's backwards. That's heresy. We're not going to produce that for you. And we moved on to the next producer, to the next producer, to the next producer.
Yeah.
Until we started to meet people that we jived with and that we vibed with, the people that understood what the hell we were after, right? People needed to understand, like, we were going after this approach of, we're going to make whiskey differently. It's not going to be how everyone else does it at all. And if that scares you or that doesn't, sit right with you, then maybe this isn't a fit.
I think it's an awesome approach. I love the approach. I mean, I think it's different, it's slightly unique. And honestly, there's a lot of people in the whiskey world that don't want to take chances. You guys are obviously the opposite of that. You're willing, able, and wanting, and that's cool. And I think you get a lot of really interesting, fun, whiskeys that come from something like that. So kudos to you guys for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I know you gotta get out too, but I want to say, thank you for taking a little bit of your time tonight, kind of share a little bit of the story, the little bit of the background of everything. And I would encourage anybody who hasn't had it or hasn't had, other things within the lineup, give this stuff a try. I mean, as you can see, Seth is passionate about what he does, and it translates over to the whiskey. I think you guys will be very, very excited. So thanks, brother, for taking a little bit of time tonight. I greatly.
Of course. No, Scott, it's always a pleasure. You have a great audience. You have a great show. I've always loved and admired what you're doing. I wish I was still in the whole podcasting and whiskey, this side of it, because I did it for a minute and I enjoyed every second of it. And so definitely, we should do this again. We should do a part 2 or part 3.
Absolutely. One other thing I'll say is, so I know in talking with Nick through email and all that. So for anyone who's part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, I'll say this: we got a little something coming for you guys. We're gonna work something out, and we're gonna make something happen for you guys within the club. So
and let me add that we are adding a store finder and a enhanced shipping calculation and pricing on our website. So stay tuned and definitely follow us on Instagram for any updates at Broken Barrel Whiskey, and go to brokenbarrelwhiskey.com. And then I'll also add that we are going to be releasing a number of new products, not only on our website, as well as our gift shop here. And if anyone in Southern California, if you can make it down to us and visit us, guaranteed good time. This room, all the bottles, all of it, everything we've ever released, available for sampling and tasting. And then we will be at Kentucky Bourbon Festival in Bardstown, Kentucky in September. So if you can make it out for that, that would be amazing. We'd love to see you guys. I will be there in the flesh. We can shake hands, have a drink together. It'll be a great, great time. We have an event the first night of Bourbon Festival. We have an event the second night of Bourbon Festival. A lot of cool shit going on in Bardstown in September. Please do come out to Bardstown if you can make it. And there's probably some other events going on, but it'll all be on our social media. So definitely check that out. And Scott, dude, thank you for the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining tonight. Yeah, I'm glad you could come in and be part of all this. Thanks for taking a little bit of your time. I knew an hour go by it'd go by pretty quick. We'll be chatting.
I feel like we could talk for hours, bro.
we could, and we'll chat again after about, we got other stuff that we're going to work on with you. So we're excited.
We'll get into it.
Sounds good. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Right, Scott. Thank you, man.
Sounds good. Take care.
All right. Cheers. Bye, guys. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys. So as you can see, so we're still live here. So we'll do the randomizer here in a second. But yeah, so as you can see, Seth is extremely passionate. He and I had kind of touched base again, going back, years ago, when this is obviously pre-pandemic. It was probably close to about that 2017 time when he was doing some different things, but starting the transition over to Broken Barrel to where he is now. And I'll say this, it is leaps and bounds above where it used to be. Not to say anything bad about that, but again, the time within the industry and all of that allows you to improve, change some things. They've done an absolutely incredible job. And I think for, again, the price point for what it is he's doing, the distillate that he's using, again, utilizing a lot of the Green River, which most everyone, a lot of us, we were really excited and enjoying what it was that Green River was putting out. So for them to take that a little bit of MGP, either blend it or do it, singular, and then add different staves to that is pretty cool. And I'm assuming they're doing it similar to how Makers does it with the ring and the staves and all of that. But again, they're going to have the ability or test things to get a chance to try or put together a unique profile. So, for him to include, not only the mash bill, but the oak bill that they're doing, which is basically the staves, the amount of staves and percentages that they're putting in the whiskey is pretty cool. And to keep all of this at a relatively affordable price point in today's day and age of whiskeys, because, let's be honest. If he really wanted, he could charge, $30, $40 more, whether it would be a great idea, I don't know, but he's kept it at least relatively affordable to have a chance to try something that's different. And I think for a brand like this, to be able to get their story out, share a little bit more about their whiskey, and again, guys, this finished bourbon that he has is no joke. Again, without knowing ages, the richness and overall complexity of it is very, very nice. And again, we were talking about, so let's go back to that, which is the giveaway tonight. So mash bill, 71 corn, 21% rye, 9% malted barley. Oak bill, 40% ex-bourbon, 40% new French oak, 20% sherry casks. So really different and unique. So you're adding those different layers of complexity. So that's something I love when there's companies that are willing to kind of, monkey around and kind of change and do different things like this. And I think they're doing a fantastic job. So yeah, I would agree. He's a great guy. And I haven't talked to him in a while, but man, so we are going to be working on, for the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, our own whiskey with them. We'll figure out what it is we want to use as far as base, and then finishing staves, and create our own, obviously, mash bill, oak bill, all of that good stuff. So we'll be able to get you guys something kind of cool and unique. We haven't started working on it yet. We're kind of just starting the talks of all of that right now. So, all right, let's do this. So I'll run this another 5 or 10 minutes. If anybody wants to kind of get in on the chance to win tonight's bottle, which you heard from Seth, he beat out some of the big guys, and rightfully so. It's a really, really fun, different, unique kind of bourbon, and something I think you guys will really enjoy. So I'll run maybe another 5 or 10 minutes and just kind of answer some questions and all of that. So Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, so I mean, as am I. I mean, it's one of those things where knowing what it was that they were doing before with the kind of the turnover of the infused spirits to Broken Barrel was kind of cool to see what it was that they were doing and where they really wanted this particular brand to go. So I'd spin your. This is someone's bottle tonight. I'm just spinning. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but. So let's see. And yeah, I mean, TD, I think it's one of those things where, this is kind of me going back a little bit from the beginning of my channel. Was always something I wanted to do, was to bring on different brands, owners, all of these kinds of guys to share a little bit more of their story. We all get so fixated on so many of the highly allocated bottles where, guys like this somehow get, I don't want to say left behind, but get a little bit discredited. And it's a little unfair, I think, but it's one of those things where for me, I enjoy being able to bring these kinds of things to you guys, to allow you to have an opportunity to at least try, see different things, get or hear different perspectives, because admittedly, we all get so, like I said before, locked into just a few brands that we love, and that's perfectly fine. But I also really enjoy being able to share the stories or the passion behind some of these other brands. So I'm gonna try to do more of these things as lives and just kind of share a little bit more with you guys. Whether last week we did one with Hemingway, and again, that was an incredible finished rye whiskey. And again, what it is that Seth is doing is, again, just more fantastic things. And I'm excited more for not me just trying it, but I love to be able to get this stuff off to you guys and hopefully share something that you've maybe never had before and are willing to kind of give a shot or try something. And even if I know everyone can't win tonight, but even if you don't, if you see something from Broken Barrel, give it a try. I think you'll be really happy with what it is. I mean, they're very passionate. They're detail oriented. They're trying different things, slightly different and unique. But anyway, that's why I had him on. I wanted to be able to at least share where he was with things now, to hopefully, again, just kind of express what it is they're doing. And if you hadn't ever tried anything or even heard of the brand, this gave you guys a little bit of an opportunity. So TCT, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Can we look forward to, yeah. So we are definitely, I just mentioned that we are definitely going to be working with Broken Barrel on our own, I'll say proprietary. I don't want to say it's proprietary. We're going to create our own, we're going to create a base and then work on our own, basically oak bill that we're going to be able to have. So very, very excited for that. So thanks for being part of that. Patrick, you're in it, buddy. Thank you so much for the super chat. We'll get you entered here right now. Give me 1 second. I will add you guys in there. So again, like I said, every $5 equals your name in there once. So if it's 20, like Patrick did, he's got four entries. That's just how it goes. So, all right, let me just add in TCT here real quick. And so guys, I just want to say, thanks for being part of this. Thanks for taking a little bit of your time tonight. It was a lot of fun, and I'm always, like I said, I'm always excited to be able to bring you guys, things like this. And it seems like there are at least several of you that have either never tried it, maybe tried something once, maybe it was a while ago, or not at all. And that's the cool thing for me, is being able to watch and see you guys kind of get a little bit excited about something that's different. And again, the price point is something that's pretty cool. too. So let me do this here real quick. Just have to enter a couple of these. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or anything, I'm happy to answer anything right now. Then I'll run the randomizer. Couple more minutes. We'll maybe go another couple minutes if anyone wants in there. So let me do this here. Add one more. Just have to add one more thing here, guys, and we will be all set. We'll run the randomizer here in a couple minutes and see who the lucky winner is. And like Seth had said, they were able to really put this whiskey up again against a lot of the big hitters. To beat some of the people that he did is pretty impressive. So all right, so let's see what we got here, William. So looking at TW selection, not great on Broken Barrel Live. Oh, Total Wine. Yeah, go figure, Total Wine. But they do have a few of the price points really good. So I'd be interested, William, what are they showing as far as Total Wine? What are they showing as some of the picks or some of the bottles that they do have available? You know what? And the cool part about all of these, they all are just slightly, different. They're unique. Everywhere from an American whiskey to, basically their cask strength bourbon to 105 proof rye whiskey, all finished, mash bills, oak bills, all kinds of cool things. So I love these kinds of brands. These are the people that I love to kind of support. Small, somewhat crafty. Again, craft is kind of a weird term, but they're able or have the ability to do these kind of slightly different things, like Beam and all that, or Buffalo Trace. They just go in and create another mash bill, age the thing longer, and then like the Weller lineup. To me, there's nothing special about that. As many people that will go crazy over all of that. That's great, but that doesn't really get me going. Like the Weller stuff is just, it's okay, but I'm 100% unwilling to pay those kinds of prices for those kinds of whiskeys. It is, again, not overly aged, stuff, but to compare that to something like this, to kind of see or watch the passion behind it, I will take that all day long. So, all right, Danny, cheers, buddy. I'm gonna get you in here right now, and then we'll run the randomizer here. Let me just do this. But thanks, guys. I appreciate everybody for watching tonight. All the super chats. Thank you guys so much. And again, I try to reach out to these brands to get them, to want to participate and do these things and share this stuff. And it allows me to do this for you guys, to give you a chance to maybe try something a little bit different and unique. And I would say this is all of that. So we're an hour and 13 minutes. So basically 1 more minute, I'll run this thing at, what time is it right now? 7:19. So we'll go to 7:20, 8:20, wherever you are, something 20, and we'll run the randomizer. So you've got about 30 seconds to get in if you want to get your name in the hat. So, or I should say the wheel of death. I've got everyone's name in here, so we'll give the thing a spinaroo, and I'll share the screen, watch, and you guys can see who tonight's winner is. And let me just do this real quick. For anybody who does win tonight, if I don't somehow have your information, shoot me an email. There's my email. You can just send that directly to me. We'll make sure to get the bottle off to you here. Hopefully this weekend. By this weekend, I should be able to get the bottle packaged and out to you guys. So there you go. Let's see what we got here. So, all right, let's do this. We're a couple about one more minute, and I will run again the randomizer. The Ouija whiskey wheel. No, it's not exactly that, but it will be the wheel of death, so to speak. So we'll run that thing. So all right, so we'll close the thing now. So thanks guys for everyone participating tonight. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and I will share my screen, and we will get the randomizer up. And let's see what we've got here. I see there's a couple late people coming in. If you guys want to get in on the deal, I can enter your name if you want. So I've been doing dad stuff. That's okay, Robert. Understand how that stuff goes. Everyone's like that. So all right, if anyone else wants to get in here, I'll leave it open another minute and we'll run the randomizer here. So but man, I'll tell you, one more sip of the whiskey, that someone's going to win tonight. Man, I'll tell you what, the sherry on that is really starting to come through. Now it's opened up very, very nicely. The good part is that you don't lose sight of the whiskey. You still have that nice backbone of the whiskey with all of those slight finishing elements. So, all right, guys, let's do this. Let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen right now. And let's see here. That's not it. Was that it? There we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's share the old screen, and I'm going to shuffle the thing 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Actually, oh, Lance got in there. Hang on a second. Let me put him in. I'll do it again. Lance, you got in right at the last second, right before I was ready to hit the button. So, all right, you're in it to win it. Let me hit the shuffle button 3 times so everyone's got their name in there. So I'm going to hit let's hit it right now. And whoever's name it lands on tonight, again, send me your email, your mailing address, all of that good stuff. We're going to run it right now. So, all right, guys, good luck. And thanks everyone for participating tonight. And let's do this. There we go. Good luck, guys. That's it, community. That's it. Congratulations, buddy. Like I said, send me that information, and we will make sure to get that bottle out to you ASAP. So congratulations, and I think you're going to really, really dig this one. So thanks, guys. Let me get rid of this here. Stop sharing, and there we go. So all right. So thank you guys. Like I said, so next, I don't have anything planned for next Tuesday. Kind of give you guys a couple of updates real quick. Next Tuesday, don't have anything. I think the following week, I'm going to be down in Kentucky, and we'll be at Wild Turkey for our Mash and Journey stuff. We got a couple other things going on for that as well. So really, really looking forward to getting down there, doing some more picks for the club and all that. We've actually been working on quite a bit of stuff behind the scenes. So I know it's been a little bit slow for Mash and Journey stuff, but we've got some really, really fun things coming, including Barrel King, our rum. What else we have from the Corbin Cash, which is an incredible whiskey. We're going to be working with the guys from Broken Barrel. We have our Nashville Barrel Company stuff that we did with them a while back. So a lot of good stuff. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Greatly appreciate all the support. And I guess we'll see you when we see you. Hopefully it'll be next Tuesday. Between now and then, I'm going to work on seeing about getting another brand or somebody on here that we can share some more fun stuff with you guys. So guys, again, thank you so much for all the support. Whether it's here with the channel, Mash and Journey, all of that stuff. Myself, Jason, we greatly appreciate everything. So cheers, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and we will see you next Tuesday. Remember, it's about the journey, and not the destination. As always, see you guys next Tuesday. Cheers.